Call for Elite Top Sportsman. First call for Elite Top Dragster. Ooh, what a matchup. Ethan Stedding, left side of the racetrack, the College Fund 2022 Camaro for P2 Contracting, Redline Oil, Wild Motorsports, Tie Drive, and NGK Spark Plugs. The lower qualified machine. And your defending world champion. And Mikey Cecina here on the right-hand side out of Henderson, Colorado, the KTR Racing 03 Mustang. We talked about that last session getting rained out or not finished due to rain. Mikey Cecina in the KTR group came out here and laid a lap down, but unfortunately it did not count because we didn't complete the round of qualifying. Ethan Stedding going to have his hands full.
But Scotty, does that run help Stevie Jackson to have a tune-up to know what he can go?
100% it helps. I mean, they got the data.
They got the data.
They may not have counted, but they got the data.
Exactly. So does that run end up helping Mikey Cecina? We find out now as he sits beside the reigning world champ. Cecina, reaction time advantage. Does he have enough to hold off Ethan Stedding? And he does not. Ethan Stedding makes his best run of the weekend thus far, 4:06.7, and needed every bit of it to drive around Mikey Cecina's 4:09. Just a mean drag race once again.
And another 0-1 margin down at the stripe. I mean, some very, very close drag races here. And Liberty's Gears Pro Street presented by Mincer Motorsport. The opening round has just been phenomenal. A classic Ford versus Chevrolet matchup here with Bill Riddle on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of Howell, Michigan. The Corrigan Race Fuels 89 Camaro for Mickey Thompson, Cigar City Garage, SSI Superchargers, Motorsports Unlimited, and Redline Oil. What a rebound for this team as they had some issues down in Virginia. Had some contact with the retaining wall, had to go home and thrash on this machine. They got it fixed within about two weeks, maybe 3. But he comes in here as your number 3 qualifier to 4:11.0. And Jake Blaine out of Port Huron, Michigan, here on the right-hand side, the Blaine Brothers 2017 Mustang. Following them on social media, they have been testing like it's their job, like all day, every day. I mean, it's insane how much time they've been spending at racetracks trying to get this Mustang lined out.
Yeah, and Jake Blaine comes in as an alternate for Chris Tootin, who unfortunately got into the outside retaining wall yesterday, not able to make the call. So Chris, being the ultimate professional that he is, let everyone know that he was not going to make the call, and Jake Blaine has an opportunity to turn on a win light. Jake tried to make a go of it, but just not enough. And how about Bill Riddle? 4:03, his best run of the weekend, 188 miles per hour. Jake Blaine and that team just seems like it didn't have anything right off the button. As you can see, the 60-foot time, almost 1:30. But after that, it came alive. Just not enough to hold to even get in the same ballpark this weekend as Bill Riddle.
And hats off to Riddle and that team. I mean, for the troubles that they had at Virginia Motorsports Park, to come back here with a 4:03.2 in the opening round, that's phenomenal. A big-time matchup, backing up from their burnouts. Shelby Kendrick here on the right-hand side out of Hurt, Virginia, the 73 Challenger. And Blake Denton, left-hand side out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, behind the wheel of Bonnie, the 69 Camaro that used to be campaigned by Lizzie Musey. Redline Oil, Franklin Electric, SmartCom, and Hoosier Racing Tire. On board Denton's machine left side. Pat Musey, of course, providing the horsepower underneath the hood scoop. And Blake, your current points leader. Blake's been #1 qualifier at our prior 2 events. He's your points leader, has a win and a runner-up finish that's put him on top of the point standings. Knows there's not much room for error right here. Shelby Kendrick on the right-hand side would love to take your points leader down.
Scotty Shelby wastes no time turns on the bottom bulb, and they're out and gone. Blake Denton with a reaction time advantage. Blake Denton to the finish line first, 4:01, 190 miles per hour. Blake's best run of the weekend thus far. So Blake Denton will take his current championship leading hot rod into round number 2. Shelby Kendrick makes her best run of the weekend, a 4:26.8, but just not enough with Bonnie making a 4:01 lap.
Pay attention in the pit area. Elite top dragster. Elite top dragster. We need you to the staging lanes for your opening round of eliminations, please. Elite top dragster. We need you. Joe Thomas next up on the right-hand side. The American Dream 67 Chevy 2 out of Charlottesville, Virginia. The Concrete Mafia. Clyde Smith Heating and Air. In the big man, number 91 on the left-hand side of the racetrack. In his training day 69 Camaro, Fletcher Cox earned his first number 1 qualifier here at Maryland International this weekend when he laid down a 4:027. Phil Schuler doing the tuning over on Fletcher Cox machine. And we've talked about it all weekend, all season. Probably roughly around 20 to 30 passes total on this car with Fletcher behind the wheel. He's owned it for a while, but unfortunately was not able to drive it. Now he is. Had a semifinal appearance at our last race on tour. But Fletcher has looked impressive behind the wheel of this machine that sits on the left side. Joe Thomas would love to turn on a win light right here. Has had a great weekend with some stellar personal best performances. Let's see if he can get it done here. Nitrous versus turbo.
Joe Thomas with a big reaction time advantage, but just not enough. And oh my, he almost pulled that one out. Fletcher Cox runs into issues. 4:15 at only 176 miles per hour, and something happened to the training day Camaro right there, because Joe Thomas went 4:25, his best run of the weekend, and almost pulled that one out because Fletcher was a little bit tardy off the starting line.
Well, real quick before we jump into Super Street, let's check out your second round matchups. Fletcher Cox will face Dan Norris, with Dan Norris having lane choice. Ethan Stedding and Ty Casper will go head-to-head with Ethan having lane choice. Blake Denton and Tim Essick with Blake Denton having lane choice. And Bill Riddle and Scott Kincaid with Bill Riddle having lane choice.
Prime time matchups when Pro Street comes back around for round number 2. And right now, all attention turns to Super Street, brought to you by Brian's Heating and Cooling. So we'll go into round number 1. And Scotty, tough competitors both sides of the racetrack right here.
Absolutely. Dan Wetstein, left side of the racetrack out of La Plata, Maryland. The Red Velvet Mustang for Essick Motorsports, Pro Charger, Atomizer, ATI, and Menser. He's your defending world champion. And Michael Webb here on the right-hand side out of Front Royal, Virginia, the 1991 Mustang. He's been making some personal best, been doing a lot of testing in this red Mustang here right side.
Webb's crew chief Kenny Fox posted a picture last night of a little bit of a gap in the head gasket on that one. So that team has been to work. They are hard at it, going to try to take down the closest matchup in qualifying. The number 5 and number 6 matchup right here on the starting line. Dan Wenstein on the left-hand side of the racetrack, your local runner, came in with lane choice. So we'll try to parlay that into a victory. Separate them, and Michael Webb is on the bumper. Pedals it to drop it down and can't hold off Dan Wenstein. Wow, what a run right there for Michael Webb. If he could have kept his foot in the loud pedal, he might have held off Dan Wenstein, but had to pedal to drop it out of the sky. Dan Wenstein on to round number 2.
We keep looking at the flow monitor, hoping we get a replay on that one. So here we go, Tyler. Watch it on the flow replay. Definitely too much height in the crankshaft on that one.
And that sometimes, Scotty, that's the devil's advocate of a big weather swing like this. is you go from, okay, we got to make these changes. We have to make the car work. We have to travel and shock settings, and you might even change a 4-link. Swing into today with full cloud cover and everything changes. You really kind of wonder, do I stay where I am? Do I go back to my tried and true kind of baseline? Right there, you can tell Michael Webb stayed with yesterday. Crankshaft was in the air, a lot of travel. If he could have stayed on the floorboard, that might have been an exciting victory for him, but he had the pedal to drop it out of the sky.
So our next pair already headed to the starting line. Blake Molnar here on the right-hand side, the 05 Mustang out of Hinckley, Ohio, from Anzo's Sports and Spirits, Motorsports Unlimited, Big 3 Racing, and Tank Fab. Austin Vincent on the left-hand side out of Central City, Kentucky. Vincent Performance 88 Mustang. Drum and Race Designs, Nitrous Express, and Steps Fabrication helping him out. Of course, Austin
struggled during qualifying, maybe.
Up the 660 man at our last stop on tour, the Mid-Atlantic Showdown at Virginia Motorsports Park. He also leads your point standings ahead of Connor McGee.
Austin Vincent's in a world of hurt. Missed the Christmas tree, and he is going home on a hole shot. Blake Molnar takes down your championship points leader. 481.9 beats a quicker but losing 480 with a 7. And Blake Molnar just became everybody's best friend in the parking lot for Super Street. Takes down your number 1 man in points.
All right, our next pair backing up from their burnouts, Dustin Mewborn here on the right-hand side out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama, the 1991 Mustang, and Carson Perry out of Sims, North Carolina, Team Greenbrier, the 2000 Camaro. Carson Perry runner-up at our last stop on tour. Greenbrier Excavating and Paving. Crew chiefs give them the nod and they head to the top bulb.
Final call to the lanes for Elite Top Dragster. Final call, Elite Top Dragster. If you're not here, we need you absolutely right now. Dustin Mewborn loses traction right at the hit. Carson Perry lays one down, 466.7, 154 miles per hour for the Greenbrier Excavating 2000 model Camaro. Patrick Barnhill and Alan O'Brien are all high fives on the starting line. As Carson Perry moves on to round number 2.
You know, and we talk about like Webb's big wheelie, and right there, Dustin striking the tires. Opening round of qualifying, a lot of the Pro Mod teams and the big tire cars had issues going A to B, but all these small tire guys made the trip. It was incredible to watch sitting here during qualifying that the smallest tires on the property were the ones that could go A to B the most.
And Scotty, now comes up the story of the weekend, in my opinion. Matt Shallow, left side. Shallow out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, in a new-to-him car. At Virginia, the last outing, his 2000 model Camaro ended up in the fence at like 60 feet out. One of the wildest-looking turns on a race car that we've seen in a long time. Since then, Jojo Marafino, Matt and his dad, Lewis, they all went to work and found this 69 model Camaro chassis. Got it turned around in Super Street trim, put their Canarium Racing engines, big block in between the frame rails, and Matt Shallow has come out and in his first run down the racetrack with a new-to-him race car goes 465. To me, that's the story of the weekend. But now he has to take that story and write the next chapter, as it's now Elimination Day.
And he'll face off against J.C. Beatty Jr. here on the right-hand side out of Baltimore, Maryland. The ATI Performance Products 2014 Camaro. A purge of the nitrous for Shallow. They'll start to head to the top bulb.
Wind light shines for Matt Shallow, 470. Beats JC Beatty's 492, which was JC's quickest run of the weekend. Matt Shallow, 470, his best run of qualifying and eliminations. We'll take your third place championship runner on to round number 2.
So, Tyler, I found out a little information yesterday about Brad McBride, who we're used to seeing behind the wheel of his Volkswagen. Tim Westmoreland informed me, because Tim's a big Volkswagen fella. He said that this is a friend's car that he's piloting here this weekend because he's fixing the Volkswagen. So he'll be up next here on the right-hand side out of Granite Falls, North Carolina. And Connor McGee, left-hand side, the 90 Mustang for Brian T. and Cooling. And this is a big round for him. Number 2 in the points. He just watched number 1 with the first round L.
Yeah, big matchup, and also kind of a scary matchup. If you're Connor McGee, you have Brad McBride sitting beside you. You're used to looking over and seeing the Volkswagen. Now you look across and see a Mustang. You really don't know what Brad McBride has in the tank for this thing. He's gone 504 and 516, but you never know if that was a we're going to get comfortable in the car program. We've got more in the tank. You know, he just doesn't know. So Connor McGee has to come up here with a really good tune-up and a really good car to try and go A to B as quickly as possible and not let Brad McBride sneak one up on him here in round number 1. Like Scotty said, your number 1 in the championship standings is gone here in the opening round, and that opened the door. Matt Shallow just advanced. He was your number 3 man in points. Now the pressure sits on the young man from Pelion, South Carolina.
And you know as well as I do, Tyler, these chances to gain championship points don't happen often. There's a reason these guys are leading the points and in the top 3. So Connor McGee got to take advantage, and here they go.
Brad has to pedal. Connor does not. 468.5 for Connor McGee. Slides right in between his 2 best runs of the weekend so far. As Connor McGee takes that opportunity, puts 1 round now on his tally for the weekend here in Maryland.
But Tyler, that was a twofer. So that was even bigger for Connor McGee to turn.
Our projections for round number 2 put us somewhere around the 2:20 to 2:30 time frame. So if you are still in competition in a professional category, there is your baseline for time. So Pro Nitrous looks to be back on the racetrack somewhere between 2:20 and 2:30. So our sportsman categories now take precedence on the race course.
MagnaFuel Elite Top Sportsman presented by Par Racing Engines, pair number 1. Brian Tiff out of Middleburg Heights, Ohio, the 2021 Corvette for Schween Motorsports. Fulton horsepower underneath the hood scoop of your number 3 qualifier. He'll dial in at a 387. Stephen Evans here on the right-hand side out of Middleton, Virginia. The current situation, 69 Firebird for Corey's Custom Fab, Keeler Motorsports, and MTP Land Management. He comes in your number 11 qualified machine at a 402 dial-in. Wow. Brian Tiff goes 17 red, and Steven Evans looked like he had a backfire and a whole bunch of other problems over here on the right side, but he will turn on the win light. Evans was 007 letting go, but man, all sorts of trouble for that Firebird, but he'll move on to round number 2. Jeffrey Simmons on the right-hand side. The Jetstream 69 Camaro for Simmons Construction, Stinger Race Fuel, and Texterra Fabrication. Dials in at a 391. Stacy Hall left side of the racetrack. The Fulton-powered 63 Corvette out of Chesney, South Carolina will be dialed in at a 418. Wow. So Jeff Simmons, let's go 005. Stacy Hall, let's go 96. Then Simmons has issues. Stacy runs dead 3 and turns on the win light. Prime time matchup here in round number 1. Ron Whitlock, your current points leader here on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Advance, North Carolina. He'll be dialed in at a 406. Jamie Fowler, the Pimpin' and Limpin' Chevrolet Camaro on the left-hand side out of Ridgeway, South Carolina for PD Fleet, LAT Oils. In Yelt's RV, Fulton Power Plant underneath the hood scoop, dials in at a 387.
Top Sportsman 48. Top Sportsman 48. We need you to the lanes. Top Sportsman 48. Need you to the lanes for third round pairings. Top Sportsman 48. We need you to the lanes.
Ron Whitlock trying for a world championship here this season on the PDRA Tour, but first has to get around Jamie Fowler. Tough customer on the left side of the racetrack. And Ron Whitlock would like nothing more than to turn on a first round win light here at Budds Creek. And it is not going to happen. He is 28 red. Jamie Fowler, 008, airs it out to go a 385-1.
Fowler found a little bit more speed compared to yesterday. Down goes your points leader here in Elite Top Sportsman. Dan Hill and Dwayne Silence, your next two.
Dan Hill on the left side of the racetrack out of Thompson, Connecticut. The Big Blue 69 Camaro dials in out of 413. Dwayne Silence here on the right-hand side out of Jacksonville, North Carolina. The 68 Camaro dials in out of 395.
Dan Hill's in a world of hurt. This one should be all Dwayne Silence. Win light comes on Silence, 27, and takes the finish line by 10 thou. Dan Hill missed it and put it 3 thou under. Absolutely no chance. Bruce Thrift and Mike Alexander Jr.
Mike Alexander Jr. here on the right-hand side, the 63 Corvette for Walking Tall Garage, and Alexander Backo is going to be dialed in at a 4:14, and Bruce Thrift at a Waycross, Georgia left-hand side, going to try to run him down. Thrift dials in at a 3:86 in the Color Me Gone GTO for Chassis Engineering and TRC Roofing. Bruce Thrift with the reaction time advantage to the top end. He'll turn the win light on. 388 on the 386 Dow, 10 letting go. Mike Alexander was 33 and 17 above, no good. Dwayne Gallagher next up, left side of the racetrack out of Cedarville, Ohio. The 68 Camaro dials in at a 4:03. And Tim Lawrence here on the right-hand side out of Princeton, West Virginia. The 2013 Camaro they call Phantom for Bell Trucking and Pro High Wall Mining. Lawrence dials in at a 393. Is your number 4 man in points. So Lawrence looking for a first round win right here. Would love it to move up in the point standings. Point leader already lost. We'll see Glenn Butcher here in just a little bit. And third in points, not even at the event. So could be a big shakeup in the point standings today. But first, Tim Lawrence needs to get around Dwayne Gallagher.
Tim Lawrence is 1 thou red. Dwayne Gallagher 41 and drives into a tire shake and still turns on a win light. Tim Lawrence 1 stinking thou on the wrong side.
So Tyler, we talked about it while I was sitting back behind the water box, but what an interesting matchup we have coming up here with Glenn Butcher and Dan Ferguson as they're making sure the racetrack's clean and ready to go. But Butcher, your defending world champion on the left-hand side. The 69 Camaro out of Doylestown, Ohio for Albert Race Engines. Abruzzi Trans Hoosier. And Butcher Demolition, who's #1 qualifier, as he has been at each event so far this season. He won a 377 in qualifying. He dials a 377 here first round, but what makes this matchup so interesting is his competitor here on the right-hand side.
Dan Ferguson, right-hand side, 376. on the dial-in of the 2000 model Viper. Those of you who are historians of the sport, shout out my man Brett Kepner. You are seeing a old Billy Harper Pro Modified car that Billy campaigned for a lot of years, and Dan Ferguson found this car just a little bit over a year ago and debuted it right here at Maryland exactly 1 year ago. So Dan Ferguson comes in your number 9 qualifier, not making the lap that he knows he can. So went 398 to qualify number 9, and on the scoreboard it says 376. We are projecting that we're going to get back on the horse of whenever we laid down a career best not long ago in the Dan Ferguson Hellraiser Viper.
And I'll tell you what, Tyler, some of these top sportsman guys have seemed to struggle a little bit here with the cooler surface this morning, so lots could play out right here. Glenn Butcher has an opportunity to make a jump in the point standings. We'll see what goes down here in just a few seconds.
Ferguson and Butcher out and away, and Glenn Butcher is 005 red. Airs it out to go 379.4, and Dan Ferguson puts a 383 on the scoreboard after letting go 43. Somebody get Glenn Butcher a puke bucket. That is going to hurt. Dan Ferguson on to round number 2.
So Tyler, fun fact. Our entire top 4 in points in the category is either one not here or out of eliminations already. The guy that's going to make the biggest jump today backs up on the left-hand side of the racetrack, and that's Brian LaFlamme.
I was about to say, don't be so confident, sir. There's a drag race that has to happen. But Tommy Brown not making the call in his Camaro, so Brian LaFlamme, as soon as he breaks the stage beams, will have a round 1 victory. But this is Maryland.
Yeah.
It ain't over till it's over.
You're absolutely right. LaFlamme, for big stuff, total power management, the 67 Mustang, YO Motorsports, Noonan Race Engineering, Maxima Oil. He comes into this race, number 5 in the point standings. Everybody in front of him, gone. He has a very good chance to march up the point standings here this weekend at Budds Creek.
Brian LaFlamme takes his competition by run and lights the lamp to a 382.3. 1 point of emphasis that we are starting to see come back into the equation. It's a little bit of sunlight peeking through the thick, ominous clouds that have been lingering over Maryland International Raceway so far this morning. Now you see the sun starting to peek back out. As we'll see, what does that do to the racing surface? Does that now bring another wrinkle back into the fold for these teams?
Well, I think if anything, it's going to get them back to where they've seen all weekend as we bring out our first pair of Larice Motorsports Insurance Elite Top Dragster presented by Greenbrier Paving and Excavating. Bruce Westfall, left side of the racetrack out of Granville, Ohio, the 2025 Race Tech. Dials in at a 380. This is a heads-up run because Brian Anderson here on the right-hand side out of Carson, Virginia, in his 2023 Race Tech, dials in at a 380 as well.
Brian Anderson, I think he may have just staged a broken race car. Was hoping for a red light and did not find it. Bruce Westfall will go 388.9 to carry on to round number 2.
Our next pair completing their burnout process, Lindsey Coleman on the right-hand side of the racetrack. At a Coleman Automotive, the 2017 American chassis for Platinum Coast Properties, Cousins Towing. Donnie and Julie Wilson dials in at a 382. Lindsey, most recent winner on tour. Jody Stroud, though, left-hand side, has been #1 qualifier at every event so far this season. The Chesterfield, South Carolina-based general contractor in his 07 Spitzer for Stroud & Son Crane. Prestige Worldwide dials in at a 367.
So Jody Stroud and Lindsey Coleman, your next two. Top Sportsman 48, if you're not in the lanes, we need you. Top Sportsman 48, if you're not in the lanes, we need you. Bracket Bash, Edelbrock Bracket Bash, we need you now to lanes, the back of the lanes. Tim Fletcher will tell you where to go. Edelbrock Bracket Bash, round number 1, we need you. The bike car is BX28, BX28, you are the wait and see bike. Lindsey Coleman turns it 6 thou red, and Jody Stroud will take a parade lap, 456, but will turn on a win light.
Ooh, big matchup. Kyle Harris, left side of the racetrack, your defending world champion out of Burford, Ontario. DFS Projects, Harquip, Hartman Machine Works, 00 Permits and Projects. Hot Rod dials in at a 380, and Dickie Smith here on the right-hand side at a Waldorf, Maryland. The Dreamcatcher Race Tech for Mazier Products, Paragon Driver Cooling Systems, Hoosier Tire, Computech, and Corbin's RV. Dickie Smith going to dial in at a 394. Spoke. So I spoke to Dickie Smith a little earlier in the week and said, got to keep trying to slow this thing down. I don't want to run in the elite category. I'd rather run in the back half. And, of course, the back half having a power purse this weekend. But he says everything I do just won't slow it down. Keeps wanting to go quicker.
Just like Ricky Bobby, I want to go fast. 2 thou separate them up front. Advantage goes to Harris. Win light goes to Harris. 15, get there. 14. It's Kyle Harris will turn on a win light. Dickie Smith's Let's Go 17 on the starting line and runs a 397.1 on his projected 394 dial-in.
And I forgot to mention, Harris is #2 in the point standings already this year, trying to go back-to-back in World Championships. So he'll move on to round number 2. Larry Roberts and Kent Newsom, our next pair out. Newsom here on the right-hand side at a Forest Hill, Maryland. Dials in at a 396. And Larry Roberts, a past world champion left side, Tyler.
That's right. Larry Roberts coming in out of Lawrence, South Carolina, the Roberts Equipment and Repair business owner. The left-hand side for Race Tech Chassis, dialed in 383. Attention in the pits. Edelbrock Bracket Bash. Edelbrock Bracket Bash, we need you to the lanes. Edelbrock Bracket Bash, we need you to the lanes. Wait and see by car number BX28. BX28, your wait and see by. Right now we need round number 1. Edelbrock Bracket Bash will take you now. Larry Roberts, second to stage in this matchup on the starting line. And second to leave the starting line, Kent Newsom is 003 and cannot make the trip. Larry Roberts. Larry Roberts digs one out of the box and turns on a win light as the burnout of the day so far from Vaughn Caulfield from Lake Placid, Florida, the 2019 Maddox chassis. Some really strong valve springs in the Par Racing Engines camp. And FTI transmissions dialed in 395. Sits beside your number 3 qualifier, Steve Fuzz, driving Red Rocket.
Look at the crew member out there, Tyler. I can't tell what he's got in his hand, but it looks like a cooling fan may have come off a Fur's car.
Not real sure. going on with the Fuzzmobile. But I do think you're correct. I think Gray Kimball, Racing Junk Kimball, just picked up a new item to sell.
Steve better get that back quick, because if not, Gray's going to have it on Racing Junk, I promise.
8 foul separate them up front. The advantage goes to Caulfield. The win light goes to Caulfield by 0.004 by 0.004 of a second. And your number 3 man in the championship standings finds the trailer here in round number 1 as Russ Whitlock, the Furlock teammate, rolls in right behind Steve Furr on the left-hand side.
Jimmy Pershing here on the right-hand side, the motor and hot rod. 410 the dial. I think Will Smith putting the tune in that machine this weekend. Russ Whitlock will be on the left-hand side out of Mocksville, North Carolina, the 08 Race Tech for Sunrise Tire. 387 the dial in for Whitlock.
The world-renowned WSM sponsored machine on the right-hand side dialed in at a 410. Be a tough customer right here for Russ Whitlock, who just saw his teammate go down in defeat. Got to pull one out of the hat for the team right here. Jimmy turns it red, and Russ Whitlock gets away with one. Whitlock drives into immediate tire shake, and Jimmy is 22 thou red. Just what an opening round here in Elite Top Dragster. A lot of question marks sometimes.
Welcome to Maryland. Yeah, you said it at the beginning of the day. Or it might have even been on PDRA Live. Weird shakeups happen at Maryland. And here comes your points leader, left side of the racetrack.
The door is wide open, like new hinge and all wide open. But he's got a tough customer sitting beside in the Lucas Oil sponsored Tom Martino.
Going to make sure we might have one stop down there on the top end. And I think they're going to shut the 2 in the water box down and push the 1 off the top end.
You know, Scotty, sometimes when you come up to the starting line, you have those tune-ups that you bring with you, and sometimes you bring one that has the number 11 on it. It seems like a lot of the Elite Top Dragster teams have come up here with the full tilt boogie tune-up, as I called it yesterday.
Oh, boy, the full tilt boogie's back. I think that's a WSM tune, we call it over here.
Gotta be. That'll be on his next crew shirts.
WSM?
Oh, most definitely. Full
whatever you said.
Full tilt boogie.
Okay. Full tilt boogie.
That is in Tennessee's Webster Dictionary, I promise you.
I'm going to take your word for it.
Yeah, look it up. You got a little bit of time right now. Google is your friend. We have a little bit of downtime on the racetrack. See?
We just got confirmation.
Point 1 for TC right there.
That's right. So Jaden and the top end crew down there pushing off the dragster. And I believe that's Whitlock's car that they're pushing off. So that may not be good for a guy that's running for a world championship.
Yeah, I'm not real sure what happened to Russ right there. It sounded weird off the starting line. Then he stabbed back in the pedal, and it just kind of went nowhere. Not sure if it might have messed up the transmission or something in the converter, drive line, something like that. But issues for Russ Whitlock right there as he'll make the turn on the top end of the racetrack safely and get back to the pit area to start working on that thing to be ready for round number 2.
And as we just alluded to before we had a little short break there, your points leader, Alan O'Brien, lines up on the left-hand side of the racetrack for Greenbrier Excavating and Paving, the 2023 Race Tech. For Barry Allen Race Engines, BTP Tuning, Mickey Thompson Tires, and Weavers Automotive. He'll be dialed in at a 375. Tom Martino here on the right-hand side. Out of Youngstown, Ohio, the Lucas Oil sponsored machine dials in at a 391. And not only is it tough enough just to be in the points lead, that means you're going some rounds, but a very unique combination there on the left side of the racetrack in an AMC power plant with quad turbos.
All the boosts, in case you wondered.
It's all a boost and nothing you can buy over the counter.
Yeah, you're not getting a part on that at O'Reilly's, that's for sure. Or Napa, my bad. Sorry, it's Napa Auto Parts, right-hand side of the racetrack. There's not much Napa know-how on the AMC over there on the left-hand side. Tom Martino going to try to take his Lucas Oil Strange Engineering sponsored Maddox chassis dragster, put a little bit of know-how in that thing, see if he can get around your championship runner. Eight fouls separate him up front. Alan O'Brien has got his hands full, and my goodness, he pulls one out of the hat. Tom Martino is going to be sick. Martino gets there by 91 thousandths of a second and breaks out by 1. 390 with a 9 on the projected 391 dial-in, and Alan O'Brien pulls a rabbit out of the hat and turns on a win light.
Tyler, I think we may have another one down on the top end. They're checking the racing surface as we speak.
Appears we have green lights on the top end, and trackside spotters returning to their posts, so that's always a good sign, Scott.
Absolutely. Mike Kopko and Matty Graves. Kopko left side. The Steel City Rocket dials in out of 380. And if you thought that Alan O'Brien's combination was a little weird, right-hand side's diesel-powered for Matty Graves and Holly Rock Customs. 409 to dial. Go ahead, Ty.
Local diesel shop right here close. You can see Matty purging the nitrous. See, diesel combinations are allowed nitrous oxide to spool the turbos. So they have a little different power angle or power band as a big block Chevrolet or a Hemi does. So you'll see Matty Graves go on the two-step and literally start rolling coal. And no, you're not at the truck tractor pull. So Matty Graves, the only diesel combination in category, will bump into the beams. Matty turns it red, will throw it away on the starting line and goes 431. But Mike Kopko, 010 letting go, and 3 above his dial will turn on a win light.
So next out we have Magnafuel top sportsman Doug Robinson, left side of the racetrack out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. The GXP is going to be dialed in at a 442. And Robbie Stewart here on the right-hand side for RS Equipment and Fleet and Teats Excavating. The GTO dials in at a 436.
So attention in the pits. If you are waiting on nitrous bottles to be filled at Florida Performance, you need to go pick them up because they are about to hit the road. So if you have a set of nitrous bottles over at Florida Performance, if you will, please head over to their trailer and see Tim. They are packing up for the event. So if you have a set of nitrous bottles over at Florida Performance, jump on the golf cart and go pick those up because Tim and team is about to pack up and call it a weekend. Douglas Robertson in full control of the first pair in Top Sportsman. He turns it into a win light. Robbie Stewart missed it up front, 2 above, no good. Douglas Robinson will carry forward. Edelbrock Bracket Bash, final call to the lanes. Edelbrock Bracket Bash, final call to the lanes. Edelbrock Bracket Bash, absolute last and final call to the lanes for round number 1.
Vonnie Mills next out here on the right-hand side of the racetrack. The Show and Tell 2013 Camaro for Hoosier Tire dials in at a 409. And Jeff Telvaccio on the left-hand side. The Deep Purple 69 Camaro for Buddy's Concrete Service. And Wilkins Race Engines dials in at a 430. Johnny Mills, 2,000 red. Cavaccio, let's go 16 and 14 above to move on to the next round of eliminations. Corey Evans, left side. 2018 Camaro for Keeler Motorsports, dials in at a 415. And Vince Vercade here on the right-hand side at a Mount Airy, Maryland. 4K transmission, right trailer, Cefelli Racing. He'll be dialed in at a 436. Corey Evans, 6,000 red. Vince Vercade, let's go 20. Airs it out to be 1,000 under. Nick Maloney, left side of the racetrack out of Brentwood, New Hampshire. The TT Motorsports 69 Camaro is going to be dialed in at a 428. Local runner Stacy Johnson out of Stafford, Virginia. The Johnson family Camaro dials in at a 432. Maloney on a 428, Johnson 432. Here we go.
11 thou separate them up front. Advantage goes to Maloney. Win light goes to Maloney. Stacy Johnson is 26 and a lot under. Maloney 15 and 1 above. Turns on a win light.
Ron Biondo left side. The TIF transmission lumen are going to be dialed in at a 426. Al Davidowski on the right-hand side. The GXP dials in at a 437.
Ron Biondo is in absolute full control, and when light goes that way, Biondo left the starting line absolutely perfect. 000 reaction time for Ron Biondo. Al Davidowski, not perfect. The win light goes to the Macedonia, Ohio-based service manager, Ron Biondo.
Steve Furr, left side of the racetrack out of Harrisburg, North Carolina. The Furlock Racing 68 Camaro for Hoosier. VP Moser, APD House of Pain. 426 the dial. David Whedon out of King George, Virginia. The CMR Crane and Rigging, 660 race cars. 97 Oldsmobile, dials in at a 448. And don't forget, the power purse here in Back Half Top Sportsman. $6,000 to win this category here this weekend. Brought to you by CMR Crane and Rigging. Whedon has some issues here on the right side. Furr lets go 003. Whedon let go 24, but not sure what went wrong inside that hot rod. Steve Furr going to carry it on to the next round. So that's going to wrap up MagnaFuel Top Sportsman. We'll get ready to pull out Edelbrock Bracket Bash onto the racing surface. Tyler, here comes your people. The Edelbrock Bracket Bash presented by Comp Cams. Danny Hoff on the right-hand side. Out of Annapolis, Maryland. The Tesla going to dial in at a 747. Ranger pickup truck left side, 635 the dial.
Danny Hoff in control of this one. And when light goes Hoff, 21 dead 3. It's Danny Hoff will turn on a win light here in round number 1.
AJ Pender here on the right-hand side. Good looking 92 Firebird is going to be dialed in at a 535. Uncle Rodney, left-hand side of the racetrack. Rodney Pryor to Glen Allen, Virginia, the S10 with the Par Power Plant, House of Pain, and CNC Chemicals. 627 for Uncle Rodney. Rodney. 7 thou red. Pinder, let's go 47. Dang. Hide the sharp objects from Rodney. Kenny Graham here on the right-hand side. The 87 Mustang dials in at a 619. And A.J. Jenkins on the left side of the racetrack, the 89 Mustang, dials in at a 621. Red light start for Kenny Graham, then he runs dead 7. A.J. Jenkins, 51 total, and your round winner. Mickey Nelson, left side, out of Leonardtown, Maryland. 2016 American chassis, dials in at a 477. And Cody Cooper, part-time drag racer, professional cornhole player here on the right-hand side. 497 to dial for his machine. Cody Cooper, 008, red light, 005 for Mickey Nelson. So move Cooper. Yeah, I'll get that right. 497.7 on the 97 to the next round. Stephen Perino here on the right-hand side at Afton, Tennessee, the 95 Mustang, 540. Pontiac over on the left-hand side, 537. Stephen Porcho here on the right-hand side, and looks like he might have knocked the tire off it there on the hit. Left lane, runs out. So Stephen Porcho, 55, knocks the tire off, runs 9 seconds slower than his dial-in. In a matchup that could probably been held at Virginia Motorsports Park where these two are regulars, Richard Tillman will be on the right-hand side out of Henrico, Virginia, the Mustang. Dialed in at a 626. And Speed Eden Lucard on the left-hand side. 454 the dial. Fourth thou, separate them on reaction times to the top, and they go, and it's going to be Lucard. 456 on the 454. Tillman goes a 29.2 on the 26. 008 the margin down at the stripe. Burt Lewis, left side of the racetrack, and the Ranger dials in at a 628. And Sean Sparkman here on the right-hand side. The 94 Mustang out of Midlothian dials in at a 583. top, and they go. And Sparkman with some issues there. Can't run the number. Burt Lewis, 6:33 on the 28 for the round win. Gary Cox Jr., the Chevy 2 on the left side of the racetrack out of Colonial Beach, Virginia, dials in at a 687. And Tom Sanders here on the right-hand side from La Plata, Maryland, the Sanders Garage. Dragster for Classic Graphics, B&B Athletics. Dials in at a 472. In the pit area, you need back half dragster for your next round of eliminations to the staging lanes at this time. Larice Motorsports, back half top dragster. We need you. Dual breakout. Gary Cox Jr. going to turn on the win light. Runs out by 6 thou. Tom Sanders runs out by 8 thou. Tim Harper here on the right-hand side at a Penn Laird, Virginia. The 06 Race Tech dials in at a 478. And Wesley Washington Jr. on the left-hand side. Leroy Brown dials in at a 597. I think that's Patches that he's driving this weekend, though. I can't keep up with all of Wesley's car names, but Tim Harper goes dead 6 to be 38 total in your winner. Taking 005 down at the stripe. And moving on to round number next. Michaela Maddox, right side out of Lynchburg, Virginia. Dials in at a 480. Left side, 461 the dial. Win light goes on the left-hand side, 463. Michaela runs 18 above, but was 51 letting go. Good matchup. Pulling up to the starting line, Zach Shirkey on the right-hand side at originally Maryland. 2014 Race Tech dials in at a 5 flat. And Nathan Tanner on the left-hand side out of Mechanicsville, Virginia. 488 the dial. Nathan was our winner in Edelbrock Bracket Bash at Virginia Motorsports Park. Trying to go back-to-back. Shirkey, 8 thou better letting go, and he'll turn on the win light. Dead 9 to be 18 total. Nathan Tanner let go 17. Took 3 thou to break out by 2 thou. Adriana Sullivan, left side of the racetrack out of White Plains, Maryland. 625. And Andre Mead on the right-hand side, also from White Plains, Maryland. In the 79 Fairmont. 522 the dial-in for the big old Fairmont here right side. Adriana, 10 letting go. Andre, 4 red. 11 over to be 21 total for Adriana. Tyler Williams, left-hand side in the Troy's Headache 85 Camaro, dials in out of 602. Kelly Taylor on the right side out of King George, Virginia. 479, the dial in for the dragster. To a 21 on reaction time. The top end, Tyler Williams. 25 total and your round winner. Jason Kirby left side. The Purple Thunder 1970 Nova dials in out of 613. And Michael Smith, you're on the right hand side. The 69 Chevelle is going to be dialed in out of 637. Fourth out, separate them on reaction time. To the top, in they go. It's going to be Jason Kirby in the Nova. 12 above. Taking 005 down at the stripe for the win. Bernard Weaver, left side of the racetrack. Dials in at a 549. Multi-time world champion behind the wheel of that Daytona left side. Calvin Gross Jr. on the right side, 517. Calvin with the better reaction time to the top end. It's going to be Bernard Weaver. By 0-1 down at the stripe, runs a 550 with the 6 on a 49. Calvin Gross, 21.5 on a 17. Larry McGowan, right-hand side. Out of Mineral, Virginia. Dragster dials in at a 454, and driver left side Ray Holmes. 565, the dial in for the Corvette. McGowan with the better reaction time, but the win light shines for Ray Holmes. 66 on the 65. McGowan takes 42 thou to run out a bunch. Cameron Gibson, the dragster here on the right-hand side of the racetrack, dials in at a 526. And Dylan Witherow on the left-hand side, the 2000 S10 for Team W. Dials in at a 588. Dylan in full control with the pickup truck. To the top end they go. He'll turn the wind light on. 588. Dead 9 to be 17 total. Cameron Gibson let go 32. 21 above. Keith Paylor, left side out of Northeast Maryland. The 02 Camaro dials in at a 693. Dragster here on the right-hand side, 485 the dial. Keith Paylor in the Camaro with the better reaction time to the top end. And the wind light, 95 on a 93. Dragster runs out catching him. 483 on the 485 dial. Brandon Bachmeyer, left side of the racetrack out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. The 03 S&W chassis dials in at a 466. And TJ Harper here on the right-hand side. The Kenny's Automart Race Tech. 443 the dial for Harper. Tyler just wrecked me up here. TJ Harper gets the win light by 0-1 down at the stripe over Brandon Bachmeyer. Goes 468 on his 66 dial. Dwayne Allen and Richard Payne, our next pair out. Allen on the right-hand side, a 2016 American. Floyd's Garage dials in at a 469, and Richard Payne left-hand side. Papa Payne behind the wheel of Chevy 2 out of Waynesboro, Virginia for the House of Payne Performance. 570 the dial for his hot rod.
One foul separate them up front. No win light goes to Papa Payne. As Dwayne Allen, 22, get their 5 thou and be 1 thou under. Papa Payne, 23 and dead on 3. Hey, pretty good race right there here in Edelbrock Bracket Bash.
Tyler, here comes Tron Hargrove on the right-hand side. 465 for his dragster. And Robert Robertson, left side of the racetrack, the never satisfied Camaro, dials in at a 550.
Final call, top dragster 48, and at this time we'll take top junior dragster. Top junior dragster round number 2 will take you to the lanes. Top junior dragster will take you to the lanes. TJD, top junior dragster, take you to the lanes. Lanes, the back, and get paired up. It's top junior, take you to the lanes now. Robert Robertson is 001 and Tron Hargrove is red. Hargrove shuts it down early, and Robertson 6th thou under on the first round time trial due to the red light. Robert Robertson moves on.
Chase Cox on the left-hand side of the racetrack, 457. 512 here on the right-hand side for the Camaro.
Chase Cox in full control of this one, and win light goes to Chase. Right side, missed it, put it 3 thou under, got there by 3 thou. Had to take nothing. Turn on a win light. Chase Cox will move on. Wes Weaver left side 540 sits beside Michael Sullivan. Sullivan in the S10 truck, 643. Wes Weaver in full control of this one. Win light goes Weaver. 8, take 19. Just turn on a win light.
Brooks McMath left side of the racetrack, 428. Lexi Hubble here on the right-hand side, 513 to dial.
math in trouble and not going to get it done. Lexi Hubble 15 and 1 above. We'll turn on a win light.
Macy Underwood left side, 496 the down for the dragster. And Stevie Ray here on the right-hand side. The 83 Camaro dials in at a 602.
Top junior dragster and now pro junior dragster. Paragon Pro junior dragster. We'll take you now. Paragon Pro junior dragster. We'll take you to the rear staging for pairings. So at this time, we've called all sportsman categories that lead up to the next round of pros. Stevie will get away with one as left lane is 009 red and a 10th under. Huh.
Vincent on the left-hand side in the 72 Nova dials in at a 625. Witherow here on the right-hand side. 588 in the Mustang. Witherow 22 and behind to the top end. Win light, Witherow 610 on the 588. Vince not running the number there in the Nova. Gary Cox on the bye run out of King George, Virginia. The Cox Motorsports Nova dials in at a 557.
Gary Cox will take your bye run here in the opening round of Bracket Bash. 17 up front and 2 above. It's our next round of Larice Motorsports Insurance Top Dragster now rolls up. So 12 cars remaining here in this round of Top Dragster. So they'll be battling it out to see who comes back for the round of 6. Round number 3 of Top Dragster. Top Junior Dragster and Pro Junior Dragster. Top Junior and Pro Junior. If you're not here, we need you. Top Junior and Pro Junior. If you're not here, we need you. So our first pair here in round number 3 of Larice Motorsports Top Dragster, Kenny Young and Tommy Mueller. Mueller will leave the starting line first, right-hand side, 445, and Kenny Young, 441. 15 thou separate them up front. The advantage goes to Tommy Mueller, but the win light shines for Kenny Young by 4 thousandths of a second. 442.0 on the 441 dial-in. Tommy Mueller is down 6 miles per hour. If you know bracket racing, you know he just got behind by 4 thousandths. So Kenny Young on to the round of 6.
All right, we've got a car on the clock at the ready line, so trying to get that machine fired up before time runs out. And unfortunately, Kevin O'Brien unable to get his machine fired up. So Gray Kimball will be on a competition single. Tony Wilson Hauling, Premier Concrete, Butler Built, Wilkins Race Engines helping out Kimball on his efforts. 426 the dial. So Gray Kimball having a great day for points. If you're on the grounds, check your pockets. Make sure you have your cell phones. We have one turned in. If you are missing your cell phone, come to Race Control. Gray's 18 letting go, 4 above. Clayton Roberts, left-hand side, 424 the dial for the Race Tech out of Benson, North Carolina for Southern Tide Homes. And Matt Parlett here on the right-hand side, the Computech machine. Dials in at a 426. Don't forget, CMR Crane and Rigging Power Purse in effect in this category here this weekend at the Big Stuff Total Power Management North vs. South Shootout. $6,000 to win this category. Parlett is 2 red. Roberts lets go 9 and may have had some issues or just shut it off.
Yeah, Clayton saw the red light right there and shut it down early. So he's going to save some parts and be ready to come back. So Matt Parlett will call it a day after turning it 2 thou red. Dave Petrovsky, left side of Pennsylvania, the 55-year-old welder, dialed in 426, sits beside James Albertson. Albertson 424, the dragster out of Wallace, North Carolina.
And Tyler, it's a pretty big matchup right here because these guys are 3 and 4 in the point standings. Petrovsky number 3, Albertson number 4. Why are we harping so hard on points? We're at the halfway point, bud. You've got 4 more races to make it happen. So Petrovsky left side, 426. Albertson right, 424.
13 thou separate them. The advantage goes to the man from Pennsylvania. The win light shines there as well. 15 up front, and 17 thou margin of victory goes to Dave Petrovsky. Dave is one tough runner when it comes to top dragster racing. Speaking of 2 pretty tough runners, these 2 come from the state of Virginia. One has watched the other one race for a lot of years, and now they get to throw down beside each other for, I think, the first time. Troy Williams, left side, Warrenton, Virginia. The carbon copy 2015 Miller chassis dials in 430, and he will get chased by Ashley Franklin, the Fredericksburg, Virginia 2014 American chassis, dialed in 426. Separate them up front. The advantage goes to Ashley Franklin. The win light shines for Ashley Franklin. 13, 1 above. Locks out Troy Williams, who is 22 and 2 above. So Ashley Franklin will carry on to the round of 6.
All right. I think maybe a piece or part was out there on the racing surface, so we got that cleaned up, moved out of the way. We'll fire our next pair up. Nick Maloney, Alan Glatt. Maloney, the points leader in the category. Reese Motorsports Insurance Top Dragster presented by Derek Wolf Trucking. He'll be on the left side of the racetrack. The TT Motorsports machine dials in at a 429. And Alan Glatt here on the right-hand side out of Westminster, Maryland. The 20 Miller chassis dials in at a 446.
Nick Maloney and Alan Glatt. Glatt's in a world of hurt. Nick Maloney in control. Nick Maloney win light. 11, take 8. To be one above 6, Alan Glatt is dead on with a 6 and no good. I'll let you do the math at home. Nick Maloney down to 6. Pro Junior Dragster, I'm missing 3 of you and need you here now. We are starting Top Junior, Pro Junior Dragster. Last and final call, need you here now. Pro Junior, we need you now, missing 3 in the lanes.
Classic Graphics Top Junior Dragster presented by Philadelphia Racing Products. Jason Garris, left side of the racetrack, 891 the dial for the Prince George, Virginia-based machine. And Hannah Mattingly on the right-hand side. The Hannah Rocket for Royal Hills Drag Racing School, dials in at a 896. Hannah going to the next round as Jason Garris goes red. Hannah airs it out to be 7th thou under. Camden Berry, left side of the racetrack. The Just Kidding half scale out of Prince Frederick, Maryland, dials in at an 898. And Kingfisher here on the right-hand side. Out of Chesapeake, Virginia, the Venom half scale dials in at a 1255. Kingfisher, full control to the right-hand side, and then runs too quick. Camden Berry going to move on to the next round. Wyatt Piercy next out, left side out of Salisbury, North Carolina. For Premier Concrete Solutions, Tony Wilson Hauling and Hickory Enclosed Trailers, 1190 the dial. Carson Sparkman on the right-hand side. Out of Midlothian, Virginia, in his 2020 Mike Boss dials in at a 1209.